Parents leave daughters home for a week and don't recognize it upon their return. But before we start, please take a moment to give this video a like, subscribe to Happy World, and hit the bell so you'll never miss these great stories. This Home Alone story began a few weeks before when Chip and Karen Schoonover decided that they deserved some much-needed time away. With 3 out of their 4 children living at home, they knew they could definitely use some alone time. The couple's oldest child, Heather, was already married and living with her husband. The parents knew that the other 3 children would probably take advantage of having the entire house to themselves, but they didn't expect anything like what they found when they returned home from their vacation. It seems that Karen and Chip had a particular affinity for names that began with the letter H. Their daughters, Heather, Holly, Hallis, and Haley, were all blessed with the same first initial. And while the sisters were close alphabetically, they were also pretty close in age and had tight-knit relations with each other. The sisters saw how hard both of their parents worked and also noticed that they didn't seem to have time to do projects that would update their home. Over the years, the meaningless junk around the house had piled up. The carpeting, the paint, the furniture, and just about everything else badly needed a makeover. The girls thought it would be a fun project, but they were about to face some tough realities. To kick off the project, all 4 of the sisters started getting to work on cleaning the home. And as any teenager would, they decided together that the youngest sister, Haley, would be the one to document the entire process as it all unfolded. She recorded on her phone to show their parents once everything had been finished. The sisters thought that this first step of the project would take half a day. Instead, they found themselves throwing out trash for the entire first day of their parents' vacation. "They have a lot of trash," Haley said in one of the videos. But if the sisters thought that scrubbing up was a lot of work, there was a rude awakening awaiting them just around the corner. Finally, after a full day of work, the house was clean and ready for the real renovations to begin. And there was no question which change had to come first. For as long as these sisters could remember, there was one glaring problem with their home that both they and their parents hated: that dull, ugly wall-to-wall carpeting. With no previous renovation experience, the sisters began to tear up the carpet. They took out a screen in one of the living room windows and started to toss the carpeting outside to be taken to the trash. At this point, there was no turning back. The renovations were underway, and the 4 sisters were hoping that their gift would not turn out to become a huge mess. Now that all the carpeting was out, the girls were working with a nearly blank slate. Their next task was to remove all the boring, uninspired furniture that filled up the living room, guest bedroom, and kitchen. Weeks before their parents had left for vacation, the sisters had picked out new furniture and collected the necessary funds to furnish their home. Each day, the 4 sisters worked from morning until well into the night, trying their utmost to complete the project in time. They frantically painted walls, refinished cabinets, installed new kitchen appliances, unwrapped furniture, and drank their fair share of energy drinks. With such a huge task still ahead of them, they enlisted Heather's husband to come help with some of the renovations. Because of conflicting schedules, there were days where only 2 of the sisters were available to work on the home, further hindering their timeline. Just 1 day remained before their parents returned from vacation. They knew they'd have to do something drastic. Together, the 4 sisters and Heather's husband decided to stay up all night and complete the home renovation. One sister brought home a pack of energy drinks and they got to work. They needed to buy as much time as they could, so they decided to come up with a clever diversion. After a week that seemed to have both lasted forever and simultaneously have passed them by in the blink of an eye, finally Karen and Chip were back from vacation. The parents were ready to return home and relax in their living room after a long day. They were excited to see the girls, but couldn't help feeling a bit nervous about what could have transpired while they were away. Meanwhile, back at the house, the 4 children were still panicking about finishing up and wondering how their parents would react. As soon as Karen and Chip pulled into the driveway, the pair knew that something was up. Immediately after Karen entered her home, she began to cry. The messy kitchen that she had left behind was not only clean, but it had gone through a total and complete transformation. The old tearing wallpaper had been replaced by light blue paint, and the chipped pink coating on the cabinets had been covered with new dark cabinets. The peeling countertops were now covered in beautiful granite, and the faded curtains were traded in for bright, flowering white fabric. Just about everything in the kitchen was different. Karen was in shock. But the surprises for the lucky parents were only just beginning. In the living room, the old couch was no longer, In its place were 2 brand new plush leather sofas. The girls had outfitted their new wooden-floored living room with a new side table, a new rug, a coffee table, and a fresh coat of paint. Karen couldn't contain her excitement. "Oh my gosh!" she exclaimed repeatedly as she walked around the living room. If the public spaces were impressive, they had something jaw-dropping awaiting them in the bedroom. The living room and kitchen were a success, and the daughters were ready to show their parents more of their renovations. They led Karen and Chip to their master bedroom, and Karen's tears kept flowing as she saw how they'd transformed not only her bedroom but also their guest bedroom into something worthy of its own HGTV show. Both rooms had a new coat of light blue paint, brand new hardwood floors, new artwork, and fresh, untouched bedding. "Merry Christmas," the girls said in unison as they were all standing in the master bedroom. They'd pulled off the huge project, and Karen and Chip were speechless. The girls' act of kindness in preparing this fantastic Christmas gift for the 2 people they loved most was not only inspiring for their family and friends, it went to show thousands of people across the country and around the world that such a feat could be accomplished on one's own without any professional help.